With Tupac shot and now Big J killed, Death Row was looking at Puffy like an absolute menace. And coincidentally, not too long after the loss of Big Jake, Tupac was released from Rikers Island. As soon as he got back to LA, he hopped in the studio and recorded Hit 'Em Up. One, if not the most disrespectful song in rap history. He dissed Biggie by saying that he smashed his girl and pretty much obliterated the whole bad boy camp. As you would expect, Puffy was pissed. But at this time he felt invincible, so he decided to do the unthinkable. He decided to schedule a bad boy tour on the West Coast from Seattle down to San Diego. However, he knew that the tour was a risk, so he decided to tap in with his best connection in LA. This would be a man named Keefe D, who he met at a hydraulic shop in Compton. Essentially, in 1994, Puff asked Keefe if he could borrow one of his cars for a video, and they locked in from there.
He had called up our hydraulics place and asked to use a lowrider.
But Keefe wasn't just a car guy, he was also a high-ranking member of Compton's Southside Crips. So naturally, when Puff announced his tour, he hired Keefe and the Southside Crips to protect him.
He had a West Coast tour coming up, but Zipper came pick me up. We rolling up Greenleaf in our neighborhood, and his phone ring, boom, and it was Puff. And he like, "You think it's cool to come out here and do concerts?" I'm like, "Why it wouldn't be cool? Just let me know the dates and give me some tickets." We had the Crips there, but I see he was trying to play us against each other. Crips, Bloods, you know what I'm saying? Sugar, Blood, we the Crips.
So behind the scenes, Puff was potentially creating a beef between Compton Crips and LA Bloods.
I guess he played it smarter. Dude with the red, I get the blue.
Well, thankfully nothing happened and the tour went smoothly. But later that year, they would run into each other at the Soul Train Awards and they would have a standoff backstage. Allegedly, Tupac and Suge pulled up on Puffy.
You hear the door go boom, and then you see Tupac with Suge and about 1,000 Bloods and Crips walking down the middle of the auditorium, just screaming because Big them had just went off. So just imagine Tupac coming, walking down the aisle, walking up the steps, and just walking into the back. It wouldn't have been too good if they had got hold to him, because they couldn't have handled what they had with them at that time. They were totally outnumbered.
Puff felt embarrassed and disrespected, and something needed to be done. So allegedly that next night, he took Keefe D out to dinner on the Sunset Strip. And there, according to Keefe, Puff offered him $1 million to get rid of Pac.
He and Puffy are at this place called Greenblatt's Deli on Sunset. And he tells Keefe D, "Man, I just need you to take care of this situation with Suge and Tupac."
Keefe, he's claiming that Puffy offered him $1 million to kill Suge or Tupac?
Both
or
of
both.
them. Yeah, both their names came up.
$1 million in 1995 is equivalent to over $2 million today. And to a Compton Crip who's probably broke, this is life-changing money. If this is actually true, then Puff is a cold man. Because there's no way in the world that any gang member would ever turn this down. And Puffy knew this. It was only a matter of time. September 7th, 1996. It's a big day in Las Vegas as Mike Tyson is set to fight at the MGM Grand. Of course, for the big fight, all of the celebrities are in town, including Tupac. Well, it's the afternoon and everyone is having fun before the event. Particularly, Tupac and Suge Knight are walking through the casino lobby. That's when they're approached by a man who's being disrespectful. This would be a young man named Orlando Anderson, the first cousin of Keefe D and fellow Southside Crip. Well, the story goes that he disrespects Pac and Pac socks him in front of everyone. Orlando is furious, so he goes and gives a statement to police.
Tupac punched me.
Then he meets up with Keefe D and tells him about what happened at the casino. So Keefe and Orlando sit in the hotel room thinking about what they can do. Then they get a call from a very important factor. This would be a New York plug and associate of Puffy by the name of Eric Von Zip. Zip allegedly calls them and says to meet in his rental car. Keefe and Orlando hop in and he hands them a Glock 40. They then hop out and Zip takes off. Keefe and Orlando then hop in their own car. 11 p.m. The Tyson fight empties out and Tupac hops in Suge's BMW 7 Series. Suge then pulls off and stops at a red light on Las Vegas Boulevard. Coincidentally, Orlando and Keefe happen to be reaching the same red light. They hear some girls yelling Tupac's name and approaching the BMW. That's when they pull alongside the car. From there, Orlando rolls his window down and the rest is history. The incident shocked the world and shifted all the attention away from the Mike Tyson victory. The world's biggest rapper was now in critical condition and not expected to survive. 5 days later, on September 13th, Tupac was pronounced dead at the hospital. Everyone wanted to know who did this, but no witnesses ever came forward. Well, here is where things get juicy. Damn, that was corny. Right after the news broke, Keefe D recalls getting a call from Puffy. He claims that Puff asked him, "Was that us?" and promised him the $1 million reward.
You said that Puffy called and said, "Was that us?"
Because Puffy called too, right?
Yeah, him and Biggie's wife. What's her name?
Faith Evans?
Yeah.
So tell me about that. Them 2 calls and everything.
He just asked, "Was that us?"
Who said that?
Puff did.
Now it's time for Puff to pay up. He allegedly sends a $1 million check to Zip and tells him to wire it to Keefe.
Zip had a check in his right back pocket, and that check was for $1 million.
Now, all that needs to happen is for Zip to deliver it to Keefe and his life is changed forever. But did you guys think that that would actually happen?
So the FBI told you that Zip kept that money as well.
They said Zip's a dirty. Everybody cross you.
You guys never got any money
Never.
for anything.
Nothing. Not even a pair of Sean John drawers.
Man, what was Puff thinking? It's almost like he orchestrated this.
But he never gave the money to him.
But thank God he never gave him the money, right? Think about it. If he gave the money, Puffy will be in prison now, money for hire.
You know, Eric Von Zip keeping the money kind of shielded everyone from the situation in its own
So he's a savior.
twisted type of way.
According to the FBI, because Zip didn't give the money to Keefe, Puffy dodged prison. But here's my question. Is Puff really responsible for what happened to Tupac? Yes, he did offer the $1 million, but it was Tupac jumping Orlando Anderson that really caused the situation, right? Well, Keefe disagrees, as he thinks that Puff is to blame.
If I wouldn't have never met him, I wouldn't have never been involved in this shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, man. So you feel like Puffy, he's the reason for your empire and Suge empire going down because of the whole situation with Tupac.
Exactly. He the only one still balling. Because he pitted us against each other, it seemed like.
But what do you guys think? Is Puff responsible for the loss of Tupac, or is Keefe D a grown man not taking responsibility for his actions? Well, if you ask Diddy, he'll tell you that he had nothing to do with it.
Now, it was this documentary that claimed, which we know wasn't true.
Yeah, check this out. We don't talk about things that are nonsense. We don't even entertain nonsense, my brother. So we not even going to go there, with all due respect, but it's nonsense.
Which we never believed, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Regardless of what you believe, the truth is that Puff was becoming the boogeyman of the rap game. With Big Jake and now Pac gone, Puff felt like nobody could mess with him. His violent ways were just starting.